Today, I'm here to talk to you about living a long and healthy life. Living a long and healthy life well into your 100s. Be a centenarian. And I'm not talking about you're in your bed and you can't get around, you can't move, you can't do anything. I'm talking about still being active, still being able to do all of the things that you want to do. This is possible, though you will find great resistance when you talk to people. They'll be like, oh no, you can't achieve this. Don't listen to any of them. I'm going to demystify these principles to you and show to you that this is possible. I know this is possible because I've been practicing these principles for over 30 years, and I can attest to the fact that they work. So there are 5 key things that you need to focus on whenever you're wanting to achieve an anti-aging strategy. And this is not only to slow down or potentially stop the aging process, but also to, in some ways, reverse it. And that's how you really get the anti-aging, is by reversing it, because you can't beat the clock. You can run 24 hours a day and you can keep things from aging your biological system. However, eventually you're going to slip up and you're not going to be perfect, and so you will age, but at a slower rate. But if you can reverse aging, then you can actually turn back and actually gain ground on the whole process. So a lot of the things that you do to stay healthy, coincidentally, go along with living a longer life. And you can see this amongst people the same age. This person went and they lived it up, right? They partied, they drank, they smoked, they stayed up all night. They didn't really eat right. They didn't do anything to really take care of themselves. And you look at them when they're in their 50s and you're like, wow, okay. And then there's this other person who eats nutritious food, exercises regularly, keeps their stress levels low, and you see them in their 50s and you're like, wow, they still look pretty good. So there's the evidence that it's possible right there, especially when you look at siblings or people who are closely related to each other, and you can see the various agings based on their behavior. So it's pretty obvious anecdotally to just determine that, yes, the things you do can slow down the aging process. So why is it even important to worry about this? Because if you're a lot of people, then you probably chased after money, right? You wanted to get a degree, you wanted to find a good career, you wanted a nice 6-figure income, and you start saving your money, and you start get to the point where you actually have some savings maybe, and you say, all right, I have money. Great. And then what happens? Your health fails you. And once that happens, no amount of money in the world can save you. Yes, if you had a lot of money, you can find better doctors and get better treatments and have a better chance of surviving longer. But for the most part, it's much better if you prevent it from ever happening to begin with. To stay healthy, stay active. And as they say, health is the new wealth. And that is true. So it is vitally important. And you probably have realized this. If you're watching this video, then you've probably come to this conclusion. You're probably like, okay, yes, money did buy me happiness and it was successful and it's good to have money. But you also say, maybe I could have taken better care of myself. And now that I realize that and I realize how important my health is, what do I do to fix that? There's so much information out there. What's true? What isn't? What do I need to do? Well, that's what this video is here to do. It's to explain 5 things that if you focus on these 5 things and you do them correctly, then you will be in good health and your health will continue to improve as you move along. This isn't going to be easy, though. You will not hear the word easy in this at all, because it's not easy. I'm just going to throw that out there right now. If you're looking for a quick, easy fix, this isn't it, because it's not going to be easy. Maintaining good health is not easy, especially in today's environment when you have so many things working against you. Just stress alone from various things. Then the foods that you eat are filled with toxins and poisons. The water that you drink is filled with toxins and poisons. It's kind of like, this is a hopeless situation. How can I possibly even worry about it? I might as well not even worry about it. Well, yes, you can worry about it, but worrying about it's not going to help. But there's things you can do about it to achieve great health. So let's get into it. The first thing is your diet. And your diet includes not just the food, but the water that you drink. And this is very important because there's a lot of people that like to, not people, but cities and different municipals that say, okay, we want to treat this water, right? We want to put chlorine in it. We want to put fluoride in it because, hey, yeah, we were really concerned about children's teeth. That's why we put fluoride in it. Wrong. It's not that. It's just a poison to make you sick. And it's filled in our water. And some of it's to keep us healthy, to keep microbes out of it. But, you don't need all these toxins in the water. So what do? You buy bottled water? Not so good because most bottled water comes in plastic. So now you got to worry about microplastics. And you're still getting things like you can't filter fluoride. Once they infuse the chemical fluoride into the water, and from personal accounts, the people who do this, who actually add the chemicals to the water, they've admitted that they don't even measure. They just dump the fluoride in. And it's very unregulated. In high doses, it's not good, especially for your brain. So, what do? You have to focus on the water. Well, okay, so bottled water, yes, is better than tap water. Filters, they'll filter out things, but once again, they don't get out the fluoride. And there's other things they don't get out of the water. And the water is filled, if you don't believe me. Most water supplies are filled with chemical toxins. And yes, they'll say they're within the safety limits of the FDA, EPA, and all of that. If you haven't learned anything by now, you can't trust the government. They do not have your best interest in mind, especially when it comes to your health. And they proved that during COVID, right? So, you can't rely on that. And it is largely an issue. There are things in your water that aren't good. You can't just drink the tap water. You at the very least, need to find a good quality filter for your water to minimize what you're ingesting. Because you need to drink plenty of water every day, but you don't need to be drinking all those toxic chemicals. So the first step is to just be cognitive of, okay, so what do I need to do to be healthy? Well, I need to watch what I put into my body. That's the food and the water. So buying bottled water, the best way to do it is to buy bottled water in a glass container, preferably. But, if you have to consume microplastics, they're pretty much unavoidable. But you still need to get the best water you can. So I would suggest something that comes in a glass bottle or one of those 5-gallon glass carboys. And you have a water cooler. And you consume most of your water from that. You can't completely avoid tap water, of course. But at least the water that you're consuming, the 8 to 10 glasses of water that you're drinking a day, or that can come from the high quality bottled water. What is high quality bottled water? Well, it's spring water from a closed spring, preferably. That means that the water that you're getting comes from a spring that's deep beneath the earth. So it hasn't been touched by man. Some closed springs are thousands of years old. So the water that you're actually drinking is thousands of years old. So it's completely free of any industrial compounds or man-made chemicals that you don't want in your water. So a closed spring water would be preferable. Now your food matters greatly. The foods that you eat. So you have to find the best food you can find. Organic, yes. But there's a lot of nuances here, and I can make an entire video on just the foods and the waters. So I'm just going to briefly say that, yes, organic foods, the best of the best would be to find a local farmer's market that sells fresh, ripe produce that you can get your hands on, and that's the best of all. Then if you don't have access to that, then organic frozen vegetables, because at least they freeze those when they're ripe, as opposed to regular produce that you will buy in the store that will be latent with, will be picked early, for one thing. And you don't know if it has pesticides, herbicides, all of that, unless you're buying organic, which is great. But even still, if you're buying it in a grocery store, they pick it before it's ripe, and then it ripens as it ships. And the problem with that is it doesn't have as many nutrients as something that was ripened on the vine. Right. So, food, water, your diet. That's important. And then the next thing is obvious. It's exercise or physical activity. The more you're moving around, the more you're exercising, the better. Of course, you can overdo it. You can overextend yourself. You don't want to injure yourself. But getting physical activity is important. It doesn't have to be high intensity, though that is better. There's different levels of exercise, but getting a baseline of exercise, a baseline of getting your steps in every day, getting some motions in, starting some sort of exercise routine that you can stick to. So start small and slowly build your way up is more sustainable over the long term, because any of these things that I'm going to suggest, if you do them for a month or even a year and then stop, it's not going to have much good. You have to consistently do it year after year to see great benefits. So you're drinking good water, you're eating good food, you're getting plenty of exercise. That's two big ones. Now, the third thing is sleep. You have to get good quality sleep, because that is when your body repairs itself. That's when your body goes into housekeeping mode and helps repair your body. So good sleep is important. Good, deep, quality sleep. You cannot sacrifice on that. It's very important to get good sleep. So that means cutting out devices a good hour or two before you go to bed, making sure your room is as dark as it can be, taking supplements if that is what you need to do. But if you're doing all the other things right, good sleep kind of just folds into place. It just kind of works itself in. And vice versa. If you're getting good sleep, you're more likely to exercise and to be more alert and to pay more attention to the things that you're doing. Right. So then the fourth thing is essential, and this is very controversial. Oh my gosh. Supplements. Yes, supplements, you need to be taking them. And yes, they work. But there's a lot of nuances in there because they're not regulated, and that's a good thing. But it also makes you need to be more aware. You can't just buy a thing of vitamin D and say, okay, this is great. No, not all vitamins are created equal. Not all supplements are created equal. So you need to be very aware of what you're buying and what you are consuming when it comes to supplements. But you do need them because your body just can't do it all by itself. Even with good food, even with good sleep, even with good exercise, we're just being bombarded by too many man-made chemicals and other environmental stresses. Your body just can't keep up. It needs that extra boost. And that's where supplements come in. They give you that extra boost. So there's the four: diet, exercise, sleep, supplements. And then the fifth thing is your stress and your mental state of mind. That may be the most important of all, because if you're not mentally ready to do the things you need to do, you're not going to do all the other stuff. You're not going to eat right. You're not going to drink the water. You're not going to get good sleep. You're not going to exercise. You're just not going to do it unless your mind is there, unless you really believe you can do it, unless you really see the goal. And once you stick to these things and you start seeing, oh my gosh, I do feel better, then you will start to learn to get into a better mindset. And that is the most crucial thing, because if you are depressed, how likely are you going to be worried about, oh, I want to live longer? Well, you don't want to live at all, right? So your mental state, you need to be as happy as you can be in your life. And sometimes that means you have to fix relationships, fix family issues, fix your career, your job issues, whatever it is that's causing you stress, whatever it is that's wearing you down, and you know what it is. It could be family. It could be a spouse. It could be your job. It could be just worrying about money. It could be a lot of various things. You have to get a handle on that. And stress management is very key. All right. So if you practice those 5 principles, then you will start to see the anti-aging come in, and you will be looking good into your 50s and 60s and 70s, and you will be very happy that you can still do a lot of the things that you want to be able to do, and that's the goal here. So keep watching these videos, and I'm going to go more into detail into all 5 of those things with each video to kind of give you more information on what you need to do. So stay tuned and just start thinking about it right now, and just start thinking, what are some small things I can do right now to eat better? You don't have to be perfect all at once. Just say, okay, I can cut out fast food 2 times a week and eat something better. I'll substitute that one night of eating meat and just eat a salad. you don't have to do anything drastic, just small steps, little by little, and then you'll work your way up. All right. Thanks for listening. I enjoyed this. See you next time. Bye.